We have a new rocket stove for sale at ush2.com and Knowledge Publications. I'm going to briefly in this video show you how a rocket stove works, and then I'm going to show you me making emergency fast tortilla bread on the stove in about 30 seconds. The basics of a rocket stove is an L-shaped pipe inside an insulated container. The container needs to be insulated, and there's usually a place to hold the fuel off of the bottom of the L-shaped tubing. Here you can see we've placed some sticks on top of the firewood support surface and into the back of the rocket stove. When the wood or the fuel is ignited, it starts a draft. The draft starts and pulls in fresh air over the fuel and under the fuel. The air gets preheated, the fuel gets preheated by the fire, and the draft shoots up and out of the top of the rocket stove and directly onto the bottom of your pot or your pan or what you're cooking or boiling. This is what it looks like on the inside, right through the firebox. You can see how it is, excuse me, how it's drafting in like this and firing up to the top. This is why it's called a rocket stove. Drafts in this way and then goes straight up. Isn't that pretty? Okay, here we're going to start up the rocket stove, and then we are going to make some instant bread, some fast tortillas. Okay, now while this gets going, it gets heated up, I'm going to start making the dough for us. Okay, making white flour tortillas. Real easy and fast. I'm going to take here 2 scoops. There's 1. There's 2. That's 2 cups of flour. Set that aside. Then I'm going to take about 1 tablespoon of oil. Pour it in. Put this aside. Take about half a teaspoon that is, salt. Put it in there. A little bit for good measure. Going to take a mixing implement. Gonna mix this all together. I have not yet to add water yet. I'm just mixing the oil and the salt in. Next, I'm going to add water. And how much water? It's just enough to make a nice dry dough. That's how you do it. You don't have to have a measurement for the water. See, I just keep on adding and mixing until I get a nice dough. And if I get it too wet, I'll just add a little bit more flour back. Okay, we got a nice dry dough here that forms a ball, nice and good. It's well mixed up. All I'm going to do is pull off a piece now, about the size of a golf ball. Put that aside. Just grab a little extra flour, put down a little extra flour, put down the dough, smush it out. Take a rolling pin. This can be a soda bottle. This can be a rolling pin. This can be a wine bottle. It can be a piece of pipe. I'm going to try to roll it out as thin as possible. Now you can see how thin this is. Okay, this is pretty thin. Thinner the better, the quicker they cook, and actually the better they cook. Okay, now this is about done, and we're ready to put it on top of the hot skillet. Okay, now it's time. We got the skillet nice and hot. Now it's time to put our white flour tortilla on top of the skillet, just like this, until it starts to get really brown on one side, and we flip it over. I want you to see how good the fire is coming up underneath here. This is making it nice and hot real quick. This is why it's called a rocket stove. Okay, you can see it's starting to get a little puffy here. Pockets popping up. Means that one side is getting pretty much done, and it's time to flip it over and do the same thing to the other side. Just get it brown with some dark spots. Okay, don't forget, this is a rocket stove, and you got to push your fuel in because the sticks burn up. You got to move them back in, keep the fire going. Okay, now you can see we got this one done. Here we go. Fresh, hot, yummy. Ouch. Too hot. Let me let this cool down for a minute. And here I have one already done. Just tear it off. Oh, that's delicious. Peanut butter, jelly, spreads, butter, beans, rice, anything can go into this thing just real quick and easy. This is bread made in about 30 seconds from nothing but sticks, fire, the stove, frying pan, flour, rolling pin, oil, salt. That's it. Now look at this. This is where I made everything. This is the stove, the frying pan, the fire, the tortilla. This is the mixing bowl, the flour, the rolling pin, the pan. Here's some finished tortilla. This is where I made it. I made it in the back of my pickup truck in the middle of a parking lot in my industrial center. Down here is my oil, my salt, my bowl, my newspaper for starting, some water, my camera flash. Here's my tripod. This is all in the back of my pickup truck. No extra power, no extra anything. Just as if you were doing it in your place or out in the wild or on an escape or in a foreign country or what have you. You can do this where you're at, this easy, this quickly, with this stove and this recipe. Also available through us is this tea kettle looking device that goes on top of the rocket stove. It is designed for you to quickly and easily either pasteurize your water to make it safe to drink or to bring it to a full rolling boil. Either bring it to 160 Fahrenheit for 10 minutes for pasteurization, or bring it to a full rolling boil for 5 minutes to kill all nasty critters and bacteria that would be in the water. The water pasteurizer is very well and uniquely designed. It has a cone-shaped fire tube, larger at the base and smaller at the top, that allows the very efficient and quick heating of the 1.5 gallons of water that is in the water jacket surrounding the fire tube. This will bring your water up to temperature quickly. Okay, I got the water pasteurizer / water boiler going on the stove, and if you look in here you can see it's drafting really good. Look down through here, it's shooting up here, and look at this. And here I am looking straight down. This is straight down the fire tube. This is why it's called a rocket stove. You can see it flaming up like crazy. So in here, this is the fire tube, this is the water chamber. Water chamber goes all the way around the whole stove with the fire tube in the middle, so it heats it up very quickly and very efficiently. Okay, we got a full fire going down here, we got a full fire going through here, we got some even coming up through the top, and then we got a full rolling boil going on. Steam coming out of the kettle like you wouldn't believe. Our water is now 100% safe to drink. It is boiled, let alone pasteurized, which happens at a lower temperature. We now have 26 cups of water completely safe for us to drink.